Hi guys, and welcome back to Vlogmas and Bookmas. This is day 7. We are doing the dang thing. Today I'm going to be telling you guys all about the books I am most excited for 2026, my most anticipated reads. I cannot freaking wait. I think this is going to be a really good year of books, and there are a few books that I can't wait for that, like, the first book has come out and I'm like dying for the second book. Typically, I've never been one who wants to start an unfinished series. However, I do understand it's important for us to read these so the author can gauge interest and keep writing those books that we love so much. So without further ado, let's get started. I have a list here on my phone, and yes, this is a Stranger Things case. I don't know if you guys know this. You probably do if you've been following along of any of my Vlogmas, but I'm obsessed with Stranger Things. I've been watching it every single night, just putting it on, having it in the background. I cannot wait for the next couple of episodes. I already love Christmas, and now I'm just going to extra love Christmas. Oh, that is my angsty book recs. One of my next videos is gonna be angsty book recommendations because I love angsty books. But starting off, number 1 is Dear Ella by Megan Brandy. I don't know if anybody knows this, but she was originally writing this series as a part of her newsletter, and she fell in love with it so much, and everybody else fell in love with it so much, that she's actually turning it into a full-fledged novel, which I'm so excited for. And I wanted to wait until it was complete because I know how Megan writes, and she sucks you in from the very beginning, and I didn't want to be left, like, I didn't want to read chapter by chapter because I can't stand it. Like, I have a love-hate relationship with a cliffhanger, okay? So I'm really excited. If you've read her book, Fake It Till You Break It, it's in that same world. It's not following any of the same characters, but they are mentioned in that book. I remember reading it for the first time and immediately clocking these two, and I'm like, oh, I want to know all about them. Like, I want to know their story. I want to know what they're all about. I need it. And that now she's giving it to us. And so I can't freaking wait. She is one of those authors that I, like, immediately will read. Then next is the next book in The Boys of Tommen by Chloe Walsh. Now, I'm not 100% positive if this is even coming out in 2026. This could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it is, though, so don't quote me. Like, don't come for me if it doesn't come out in 2026, but I'm almost positive it is. I feel like we were left with so many open ends in the Boys of Tommen series, especially with Liz and Hugh's storyline. Their storyline is one of my favorites. I never hated Lizzie from the beginning. I always knew she was a very complicated character. Were there parts and times where I was, like, so mad at her? Of course. But her personality and story always intrigued me from the beginning because I just knew there was a lot there that we didn't know. And the more that Chloe has delved into her, the more that I just have become completely obsessed with her and Hugh's story. It's that angstiness that I love. It's very dark. And it got a lot darker than I anticipated. However, I am somebody who has read Chloe's books since, like, she first started publishing, so I knew that she could write some, like, pretty dark stuff. She does have a few books out there that aren't as wildly popular as her Boys of Tommen series, where she does get a little dark, so it doesn't surprise me how dark she got. I just didn't think she was going to do it for the Boys of Tommen series. But I'm, like, pleasantly surprised because I'm glad that there's, like, the representation that there is in the books and the mental health and all the things. And I love young love, and I love how they're exploring that. And I do love a love triangle, love square, if you will. And I'm really excited also to see Feely and Katie. I want her to, I know she's going to win me over with Katie. And it's not that I don't like Katie. I just don't really, like, know her well enough to, like, have a full-fledged opinion on her. Do I think she starts stuff with Lizzie? Absolutely. Does Lizzie get back at her? Absolutely. And I think that's just what's going to happen when you have all these. And let's remember that these kids are all in high school. They're all teenagers. So of course, especially when you have overlap of, like, people dating each other, you're gonna have drama, you're gonna have you're gonna have angst. And so I think it's important that we give all of these characters grace, and let's see how it goes. But that is one that, like, I'm very excited for. Next, No Fear by Tate James. That's gonna be released March 31st of 2026. Tate James is another one of those authors. I will read anything she writes. I'd read that woman's grocery list. Like, I cannot wait for this one. Let's see. Let's read I want to read the description of it because I love her Why Choose. I love the way that she writes Why Choose. Let's read this. So the series tropes are secret girl, cliffhangers, of course, because that's what she does best. Forced proximity, why choose, unwilling cam girl, found family, fan service, social media, murder mystery, enemies to something, K-pop elements, and popularity competition. This just sounds so good. This sounds like, what's that movie with Emma Roberts and Dave Franco? Oh, I know somebody's gonna know. What is that movie? Emma Roberts and Dave Franco. What is it? It's Dave Franco. Nerve. It's giving Nerve, and I like loved that. I loved that movie. So if it's giving that, I'm very excited. I love the way she writes. Sorry, that just turned on. I love the way she writes her characters. I love that they always have like very interesting personalities. Her girls are always different, but they're always like, they've got strong, they're like strong women, and they're not always strong in the same way. Because if you read like the Madison Kate series, Madison Kate's a very strong young woman, but then if you read Hades series, Hades obviously is very different, strong in a completely different way, and she just writes badass women. And then she writes these men who are like obsessed with her, and she always writes one that has to win me over, and I can't wait to see what she writes next. So going in with same Tate James, but it's Tate James and Jamin and Eve, and it's the Bluebell House Duet. Book 2 is supposed to come out in 2026. There hasn't been like an official release date yet, but I'm pretty sure it's coming soon because Jamin did tease something not too long ago. And the first book's Forced Proximity. If you haven't read this book, I don't know what you're doing. It is one of my favorite books from 2025. Like, it came out at the beginning of 2025. I was obsessed. I recently read it again. And I'm like, oh my god, the other book's not out yet, but I had to reread it because it was so good. It was like one of those books that I knew I couldn't wait to reread again. Like, it just had everything. It had like that mystery. It had the academy. It had just that, like, all those tones that I love. And then we also had like a student-professor relationship. That's always going to do it for me, okay? Always. And it just, the way that it was and the way that it ended, oh my god, I cannot wait. I'm so excited for that. Let's see. Next is Unbound by Peyton Corinne. That comes out April 7th, 2026. I really liked the first book of that series. I just think it reminded me a lot of Boys of Tommen. It's not exactly the same. They're very different elements, you know what I mean? But I loved the way those characters were written, and the second book was also very good, and I just feel like this one's going to be very good as well. I just like the way that she builds the worlds and the characters and the way that they interact and the way that her male characters are. I love a main male character who is just like, I don't know, emotionally intelligent, and that's kind of how I feel about her characters. The next book is going to be the Bridge series, book 2 by Ashley Rostek. Listen, I have been talking about this book for the past like week. The first book, What is Love, sucked me in from the very beginning. She's like the super rich girl. She seemed like she has it all together. Come to find out, her mother is very, very abusive. She's got a boyfriend who also isn't treating her right, and I mean, like, she is getting hurt all the time. She's getting constantly put in these situations that she doesn't want to be in, and she doesn't really know how to get away. There's also this mystery of like who her father is, and then she starts hanging out with with these guys that are from the other side of the track, and she quickly finds out that like that's like, I feel like that's going to be her found family. This is what we're going to find out in the next book. They're just kind of all get to know each other in the first book, but the way that the guys are with her is so sweet. And there's one that's just like very standoffish with her and like doesn't know what to do. That guy is always going to be my favorite because I love when he finally cracks, but I also like, I want it to be like at the very end, you know? She's also the one that writes the Witness Protection series that like everybody was obsessed with. I'm obsessed with it. And it ended on the biggest cliffhanger ever. So I like I need it to come out right now. Like, I need it now. The last book in the series, the last book that I'm most excited about is Love Song by Elle Kennedy. I love everything that I love Elle Kennedy's books. Obviously, I loved Off Campus, and Love Song is going to be Wyatt, Graham, and Blake Logan, which I am so freaking excited for. Let's read, shall we, the synopsis. A Briar Universe standalone romance featuring the next generation off-campus characters where one unforgettable summer changes everything. After a brutal breakup, college junior Blake Logan escapes to her family's lake house in Tahoe, determined to shut out the world. Her plan is simple: no men, no drama, until Wyatt Graham shows up. 4 years older and far too good at getting under her skin. Wyatt is the living embodiment of bad idea, and the guy who shattered her pride when she confessed her crush at 16. Like, just hearing that, I'm excited. I'm sold. With his music career stalled, Wyatt has come to Tahoe for inspiration. The last thing he expects is to find it with Blake. He spent years keeping his distance, convinced he's all wrong for her, but she is no longer the innocent girl he once knew. She's confident, captivating, and impossible to ignore. And the slow-burning tension between them, it's catching fire fast. They both know this can't last, but one reckless kiss turns into another, and soon they're tangled in something that feels dangerously like more. Just as they finally give in to the pool, tragedy tears them apart, leaving their hearts in pieces. But forgetting that one nearly perfect summer, not a chance. And when fate brings them together again, Blake and Wyatt must choose if this is a good second chance or the final verse. That comes out March 17th, 2026. So a few good ones we have at the very beginning of the year. Unfortunately, I don't have any right now like that are coming to mind, or any that I have done research that are January, February. I'm sure there will be, and I'm also like a very big indie romance girl. So a lot of times I just find my books as I'm scrolling Kindle, I'm scrolling it like it's Netflix. And so if any of those come up and I'm like, oh, I really want to read this, and I have some, I will add it like in the comment section or in the description or something, so that you can come back to this and play around with it and see what else. Please let me know what you're most excited for. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what's going to be published in 2026. I feel like we had a really good year in 2025. I've been seeing a lot of discourse recently where everybody's talking about how all of the books are the same nowadays and da-da-da-da. I just feel like you're not reading indie romance if that's how you feel. And I love a good, like, traditionally published book. A lot of these are traditionally published, you know, authors. Love them to pieces. But I also really love indie authors. I feel like if you scroll Kindle enough, and also if you scroll TikTok enough, you'll find a really good indie author that's just going to like take off. And it's always really exciting when you kind of feel like you found a gem and then they blow up. It's like, oh my god, I was there first. It's like when you were like one of the first ones who was a part of like a singer or a band and they blow up and you're like, yeah, it's like good for you. I just think we should be looking more for indie authors, because I think they have so much. Like, there's so much story. There's so many stories to be told, right? And that's something that for the longest time, when all these like rom-coms are being made, they were all kind of the same. And all of us who read books are like, go to the books. Go to the books, because if you go to the books, there are some amazing romantic comedies, there's some amazing romances that are in the books, and now they're finally starting to do that. We're getting really good TV shows, we're getting really good movies that are coming from books, and that's also how I feel about indie authors. If you look, there are some gems out there. If you look hard enough, you're gonna find some really good books. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you've been enjoying this Vlogmas and Bookmas, and then I will see you next time for a day in the life, and then maybe for my angsty romance recommendations, because you know, if there's anything I have, it's an angsty romance book recommendation. I'll see you tomorrow.